What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live with a few subscribers, Patreon members even, and we're here to talk live just about the NFL in general. A few topics come out. We have a exclusive chat on Discord in the BLV Discord where we just talk about NFL all day and have arguments all day. And I was just like, hey, why don't I go live and we'll just have our typical arguments on live because it's better than nothing. And I know Durkant's over here eating stuff all the time, and Ultra is just looking at Matt Ryan stats all day. So might as well bring it up on the live chat, on the stream. And then if you guys have any questions, we're going to do a Q&A as well and bring up any topics around the NFL that you feel are worthy of discussing, whether that has to do with my list, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line list. Those are all out now. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go check that out in the rankings, 2020 NFL rankings playlist. I made that playlist exclusively for that. And then defensively, probably tomorrow, I'm going to be recording the cornerbacks and the edge players tomorrow. And sometime tomorrow, one of those lists will be out for you guys. I just determined the top 20 corners, and it was very difficult. And we're going to maybe talk about that a little bit as well. So I'm going to introduce you guys to who is right now talking to me here on Discord, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it's all connected. I did test it out before, so it should be working. But what's going on, guys?
What up?
How's Durkant?
What up? What up? Yes.
And Party's on mute, bro. Party's got to get off mute.
Get off mute, Party.
If you watch this channel, there's a 98% chance you know who I am.
Oh, come on.
If you watch this channel, there's like a 90% chance you know who I am. If you're in the
okay,
live chat
I just want to bring this up. Okay, I made a star in Kevin Durkant. Can we all agree right there?
Yeah, I agree.
No, that's what he wants to say, but
Durkant, Mitch passed you all the knowledge, my bro. So are you gonna So I'll just say a little bit about myself.
This is Ultra.
I live in a place you shall not know, but I'm a Falcons fan. I'm a Matt Ryan and Julio Jones stan, and I just love talking about the NFL with Mitch, Durkant, all the good guys in the Discord. So that's me.
All right, it's my turn.
I think it's W Jordan just said, Durkant, I'm out. Just kidding.
That's dank addiction. He's still scared to play. I'm still calling you out, dank addiction. Play me in Madden, bro. Play me in Madden.
He is.
Play me in Wait, actually, I think we're gonna play in the franchise, so we can get it on then. I'm gonna drop 80 on it.
Yeah, Turtle. Ultra's in there. Turtle, you can join as well. You're in the chat. Busboy wants to join. Should we let Busboy in?
Let Busboy in.
Is he exclusive enough? One of you guys will have to send the invite. But
should I invite him?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just going to go through the chat and give some people some shout outs. So hopefully you can hear everybody right now. If you guys can, give me like a thumbs up or let me know that you can hear everybody.
Turtle needs to get in here because me and Turtle have the best rivalry.
Did someone just say I'm a girl? Did somebody just say I'm a... Yeah.
We're just testing this out for the first time today, guys. So not everybody's going to be able to get in and talk today, but eventually I'll be able to figure it out so that I can actually call people and they can call me. But the best way to do that right now, the only way I know right now is to join the Discord. So if you're not in the BLV Discord, do join, and then eventually down the road we can get you in a voice chat and you can ask some questions. Go ahead, Ultra.
We're doing it with like the OGs group right now.
Ultra, they're just clowning you in this chat, man. They're talking about how you sound like a girl. They're talking about... They're talking about how Julio's going to get traded at the deadline because they're going to have 2 wins. They're all over you right now.
Guys, make sure you Gronk spike the like button. Let's give some shout outs. So Party is in the chat, and he's also in this voice chat, but he's still muted. I don't know why. Turtle is in the chat. He really was excited that Ultra was calling in. Kathleen is in the chat. She says, I'm sad as a Pats fan. Okay, what do you guys think about Brady? I know that we talk about Brady all the time, but what's your honest thoughts about Brady being in a Bucs uniform?
I'll let Durkant go.
It's very warming. It's a very warming feeling, but it's also a very strange feeling. Because I felt like for all my life I've seen that guy in the same jersey.
I will say this, he does not look nearly as good in the Tampa Bay uniform. I don't know, maybe it's just that we haven't seen him in a different jersey, but I just feel like the Patriot logo, the blue, the red, the silver, it just looks too good. It's like a match made in heaven. It's like Roger Staubach in the Cowboys, Rodgers in the Packers. Like, it would just look weird if they were in a different uniform.
But let's be honest, though, those new Bucks jerseys, I like them.
I do too.
They are fire.
I just ordered mine actually today. So there you go.
Can I say my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead, Ultra.
But I've got kind of mixed emotions on how I feel about Brady, because on one hand, for most of his career, I've kind of been somewhat of a Tom Brady fan, and then the Super Bowl happened, and then I have my feelings, but I feel like it's good for the Bucks because they're in win now mode, but it also looks really weird seeing him in red instead of seeing him in that, in blue, like you would see him in the Patriots uniform. So.
All right, so SCU says Bucks are way overhyped. I guess that's an easy transition. So what do we think of the Bucks right now? Because I think right now everyone kind of knows where I'm leaning on the Bucks, but let's get some different opinions. So go ahead.
Ultra, you go first.
Okay, so when the Bucks originally signed Brady, I was a little down on him because I was like, I'm not sold on the secondary, not sold on this offensive line. Brady is coming off a year that's mediocre by his standards, but after looking deep into it, they have got one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL. Their front seven is nasty AF. Their secondary was pretty underrated last year with those two corners, Dean and Davis. Their offensive line was top 10 last year, and they've got as much weapons as anybody in the league. I do think they are an NFC contender and a potential Super Bowl contender. Right now, I've got them at 11 wins, and I flip-flop between them and New Orleans every day to win that division. Right now, I have New Orleans, but I could easily switch to Tampa. So.
Before Durkant gives his basically, he's going to put down the Bucks right now, and he's going to say that Jamel Dean sucks. But before he does, I do want to say that the more that I watch the Bucks from last year and the more that I actually dive into this roster and this team, I don't know how you cannot think that this team at least has an opportunity this year to be a legit NFC contender and to go to the Super Bowl. I know that there is hype and I know that it's Tom Brady and all this jazz, but like seriously, if you legitimately look at this roster, they were a quarterback away from doing something. They were a quarterback, even just a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, away from being a legitimate NFC team. And when you look at all the games that they've played versus good NFC opponents, whether it be the 49ers or the Saints, they played a lot of them last year. Like, they were competitive in those games and close in every one of those games. And they've only gotten better and added to this roster with Gronk and with Winfield and with Keyshawn Vaughn and with Wirfs. Like, their roster is much better, and they basically lost nobody. So, Durkant?
And one quick point on that. They have been a competitive team with Jameis throughout their career, even with different rosters. So I feel like just getting Tom Brady and his leadership and his ability to elevate players around him, even on defense, they play harder for Brady than they would for Jameis. So I think that's another factor you have to take in. And this is the best quarterback Bruce Arians has ever worked with. So.
Okay. So this might surprise you. I actually have the Buccaneers as the number 1 seed in the NFC right now.
Whoa!
He's jinxing them, Mitch.
He's doing that on purpose.
I have them at 13-3.
Bro.
Wow.
And I do think that
even with Jamel Dean?
Yeah, even with him. Okay, I do think that their secondary is questionable, but I do think that they have some favorable matchups if they do in the playoffs, in theory. Because I think that they match up well with the 49ers, and they match up pretty well with the Saints.
Can't you just see them beating the 49ers, like Brady beating Jimmy? I almost feel like that's going to happen.
I can see that. I do actually think that the Bucks somewhat match up well with the Chiefs as well. If that were to be a Super Bowl matchup. No, because if you look at them, how is Kansas City going to stop that offense? Like,
there can't.
All right,
no answer by there can't. He's just left speechless.
I think that their worst matchups, I think that they would lose to a team like the Cowboys in the playoffs.
I would agree with that. I would agree. Although the Cowboys always choke.
That's true.
I think that there are a few that for them to make the Super Bowl, I believe they have to play the right teams.
Mm.
And I'm going to take a quick look at their schedule.
They play a lot of the teams in the regular season, so at least they'll see them once.
I do think they'll have a slow start because a lot of times with these hype teams, they start off slow. Mm-hmm. And if I look at their beginning of the year...
See, this is the thing, like... The first week is really interesting because I feel like it's two teams that we all feel like are going to be good. And if these two teams, let's say it's a really close game or whatever, or let's say one team blows the other out, we're still not going to get a good understanding of how those teams look. Like, constantly going...
Usually what I do with week one is I just fill out all the week one games that were upsets and that I don't change any of my predictions for the rest of the way because week one is wild. It's like you have no idea what's going to happen.
It's early in the season. It almost feels like there's a lot of those matchups where two really good teams play each other and you don't really know what to make of the game, and it's hard to predict the rest of their season because of it. Like last year, there was a couple games like Texans-Saints, for example. There was Colts-Chargers, where we all felt like Colts-Chargers, these two teams might be pretty good, and then the Chargers ended up pulling it out, but the Chargers actually didn't end up being very good. And then the Colts actually were off to a hot start, and then they fell off.
And then there were games that we thought would be pretty close, like Vikings-Falcons, Patriots-Steelers, that ended up being complete blowouts.
And then the Steelers rebounded.
Yeah,
Falcons didn't until the second.
Wait, who's that?
But I'm looking at the Bucs schedule. Oh shit, why is there an echo?
I think it's Turtle.
That's Turtle. Yeah,
what's up, bitches?
Whoa!
Bro, what is he doing in here?
Bro.
Okay, so we've got the biggest BLV rivalry in here. But anyway, I'm looking at the Bucs schedule.
He thinks it's a rivalry. It's not.
Turtle just owns them at this point.
I own Turtle, bro. But they play in Denver, which has kind of been a house of horrors for Tom Brady. I'm sure Mitch would can correct me on that one. I think he has a losing record there.
I think that's the only place he has a losing record. I don't necessarily know if that has more to do with the Broncos. Just every time they seem to play the Broncos are actually legitimately good. Or it's just like a house of horrors. It's kind of hard to know. Like, I think recently they've been better. Like, he's been better in Denver, but I could be wrong.
And then the next week they play the Chargers, which is one of the few teams that can actually cover their weapons. They go to Chicago, which, that won't be easy, but that's probably a win. Green Bay is going to be a lit game. That is going to be Rodgers Brady, bro.
They'll beat Green Bay.
They'll beat Green Bay, but that'll be a lit game. At Oakland. Yeah. Brady in Vegas, bro.
Versus Gruden, his former team.
I know.
I'm calling it right now. They're going to beat the Raiders by 3 touchdowns.
And then they play the Saints at home, which they usually split with the Saints. And this year they're much better than they've been in the past, so I think they'll win that game at home. Rams, they're not what they once were. Chiefs, that'll be a lit game. Vikings, that'll probably be a win, although that'll be a pretty good game. Falcons twice. The Falcons are one of the teams that can match them offensively, but they'll probably at least win one of those games. And then, of course, it's the game between Mitch's 2 favorite quarterbacks,
yes!
Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford.
Stream of the year. Let's go, Lions fans.
No.
The Lions could win that game.
The stream of the year is Week 7, Lions at Falcons.
Matt versus Matt.
If the Lions win that game, I will come on here and I will say Matt Stafford is better than Matt Ryan as we speak.
Wow.
I will come on here and say that.
I'm not gonna
If
lie.
the Lions win.
I think it's possible. It's possible that the Lions could win that game.
It's very
Against
possible.
the Bucks or the Falcons?
The Bucks, actually both, because I have them beating the Falcons.
I don't think they'll win either. But
All right,
they have a
guys, I'm going to
chance.
get to the chat because a lot of people are like, Mitch doesn't read the chat, so I got to read the chat. Jacob says, thanks, bro. Bro, it's dumb late. You must love us. Yes, Jacob. That's exactly why I'm on. More likely, though, Jacob, I'm just going to be honest, I'm kind of bored. So, yeah.
We're all bored.
I was actually watching and these guys will tell you, I was watching the 2006 AFC Championship. And it was 21-3 for the Patriots, and then they literally got to their Colts 25-yard line and got 20 yards in penalties and moved back to the 50-yard line and had to punt, and I just turned it off. So,
dude, the Colts are too good.
Wait, Mitch, are you saying that you've watched a game where your team is like within the 20-yard line? And all you needed to do was like run the ball, but instead your offensive coach decides to throw the ball,
Yo,
and then you take a strip
flaming.
sack, and then you blow a 28-3. No, I'm kidding. Hello?
Who's that?
Ultra.
Is that Busboy?
Yeah, that's Busboy.
Yeah.
Ultra,
Am I getting flamed in the chat?
Yeah, they're roasting
I'm
you.
going
They're
through the
saying that
chat right now, Busboy, but you can chime in whenever you like.
Turtle's out here roasting you.
Oh, Turtle.
We got some sup mates. Hello, what's going on? Dried Ocean. That's a cool name. Who are your favorite NFL teams from each division? Okay, that's interesting.
Should we all answer this?
I'll go.
Okay. Just everybody, we'll say AFC East and everybody just shout something out. So AFC East.
Okay.
Fins up.
Bills.
Patriots.
Bills.
Wait, what are we doing?
Oh, you're out of
I
this.
wasn't paying attention.
AFC North.
Steelers. Ravens.
Browns.
Browns. The Browns.
AFC South.
I still don't know what we're doing.
Colts.
The Texans.
I really
Texans,
don't
I
know.
guess.
I'm going to say the Colts.
The Texans.
They're all kind of the
I
same.
used to like the Colts until they booed Andrew Luck out the stadium.
Yeah, that's the fans, though. AFC West.
Raiders.
Chiefs.
Wait for it. Da-da-da-da! Chargers.
Okay.
The NFC East.
Redskins.
Eagles. I'd go for the Eagles.
The Skins.
Cowboys.
Giants.
Ew, that's disgusting. Didn't I tell you we're not supposed to be talking about the Cowboys in here?
I'm sorry, I just puked from you saying
Yeah,
like the
we need-
Cowboys.
You guys are just trying to be nice to everyone who doesn't like the Cowboys, but I'm willing to put my opinion out there.
Shout out to Dilly Vanilla.
Shout out to the GOAT. NFC North.
The Packers.
Vikings.
The Packers.
Should I say the Packers? Yeah. Go. Okay.
I'll let you guys determine my favorite team in the NFC North.
The Bears, right? The Bears.
It ends with an
Clearly,
S.
it's the Bears.
It ends with an S. That is true.
Clearly, it's the Bears, right?
The NFC West.
The Seahawks.
I can relate to their pain.
Kyle Shanahan's. That's my favorite team.
The Seahawks.
Kyle Shanahan, if you would have ran the ball, I would have had a Super Bowl run right now. Okay. And then NFC South.
The Panthers.
NFC South. Did I skip it?
Yeah, you skipped the NFC South.
I'll let you guys determine who my favorite team is in that division as well.
Clearly the Saints, right?
Clearly it's the
once again
Panthers,
ends
but
with an
anyways,
S.
we'll continue.
I'll let you guys determine who my favorite team in the NFC South is.
It's got to be the Saints.
Is Sherman a top 20 cornerback?
Yes.
Yes. I don't care if he got burnt by Sammy Watkins in the Super Bowl. Sherman is still elite.
Yeah, I would say he will be on my top 20. I'll just say that much.
I will say he is a top 20 corner. I will also say he's a top 2 zone corner. I don't think he's a man-to-man guy anymore, like he used to be in his prime in Seattle, but he is a great zone corner.
He's on the edge of my top 10. Like, he's there, but he's not there. Around 10.
I think he's top 8 or top 7. Personally.
Toxic Toxic asks to
you
name
guys-
your top 5 corners, so we can continue this conversation with that. So each of
you
you,
guys
is Turtle
not
still
add
here?
more?
Is he still alive?
Let me go first.
Yeah.
Hold up. Y'all tripping.
Okay. Well, until we get to Lattimore, who's the Hall of Famer according to Turtle, we'll get to that in a sec.
Yes, sir.
Bro, Marshawn Lattimore, man.
Go ahead,
First of
Durkant.
all,
Jari Alexander
did you
first,
guys-
right?
did you
Yep.
guys not watch Richard Sherman last year outside of the Super Bowl talking about
Okay.
top 10, top 8? He was a top 5 corner last season, undoubtedly.
Durkant though, like
He
the
was
thing is, like
great
I
last
get
season.
it, like by
He was-
performance he was, but like if you were to start a team and want a corner on your team, would you want a corner who just isn't that fast?
I wouldn't want Sherman because he's old.
And
But
he's
last
old.
season,
Like, how
he
do you
was-
know he's not going to drop off the face of the earth next year?
Hey, is this a projection,
I
or are
think
we
he
talking
might.
about last season?
I mean,
And
it's a
another-
little bit of
another
both.
thing-
If
another
it's a
thing I will
projection,
say-
then I'm
I-
going to say
Okay.
that my boy Jair Alexander is going to get in the top 5.
Okay.
Well, the way I do my list is, you kind of know, it's like the guys that I would pick like right now.
All right.
Like going into the season, not necessarily a projection, but like
So you want me to go, or you want Durkant?
Gilmore,
Durkant, give your top 5.
Gilmore,
Okay. White.
Humphrey,
Yep.
Ramsey, Alexander. That will be the top 5 next season.
Is that in order or is that
Yeah, that's in order.
okay?
Ramsey should be
Okay,
second.
I do my list similar to my boy Mitch. So got Gilmore at number 1, White at number 2, Humphrey number 3, Sherman number 4, Ram 5.
Okay, I'm just a little bit confused because I didn't watch on Lattimore's name.
I'm gonna go
Because
right
his owner is Julio Jones. That's
Hold on, I didn't hear Tracy Porter mentioned.
Fuck Tracy.
oh. He won you a Super Bowl, which is something I've never seen my team
And
win,
now
bro.
he's sorry.
now. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Turtle, this is a family show.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Keep it PG.
All right. Anyways, Ultra gave his top 5. I think both of yours is pretty similar. Busboy,
Can I
what's
go?
your top 5?
Okay, so I got Gilmore, Ramsey, and then I would go Humphrey, White, and Alexander.
Not bad.
How do you guys
the
feel
exact
about
same
what I
as
mentioned the
Durkant.
other day? Ramsey is probably going to be number 2 next year. How do you feel about that?
I think there are
I
two
think it's
corners
possible.
that okay.
It's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it, but it is possible.
I think Ramsey could be 3rd. I don't think he's going to be better than Gilmore or White. That is
I
my
think
opinion.
Ramsey is talented enough to be number 1.
He is talent. He's probably the most, just talent-wise, he might be better than Gilmore. But I think production-wise, if you look, and you just look at shutting down receivers, I think Gilmore's easily number 1.
Jacob says, I love your vids. Thank you, Jacob. Crow
love
wants
you.
to be let in. And what do you guys
No.
think?
I mean,
Bro, imagine Bus and Crow in like a.
Oh,
That
the
would be
rivalry.
hilarious. That would be. They were in one earlier today.
In a voice call, bro, Bus would.
Dried
Yeah,
Ocean
that's
says, too bad Julio will be traded at the trade deadline because they'll be 2-5.
that's funny.
You want me to respond to that? Or,
Sure, go ahead.
Hopefully not, but you never know what Thomas Dimitrov is gonna do. So
Who now?
probably send him to the Patriots.
Yes. Dubby says, I'll have to jump in sometimes and debate why Lamar Jackson's the best athlete to ever step foot on the NFL field. I think this is recency bias, but
Oh,
No,
By the
he's
way-
just a Lamar stan. That's why.
when you guys are mentioning top 5 corners, you guys are sleeping on Casey Hayward.
Casey Hayward's my number 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say I believe that he is up there.
I think he's a little overrated.
Lattimore.
I think I'd take Lattimore over Hayward.
Lattimore gets a little
That's right.
People hate on Lattimore, but he plays in the most wide receiver heavy division. I think people forget.
To be fair to Lattimore, though, he held Mike Evans to 0 for 0.
That's pretty impressive.
I know.
Very impressive.
Don't think that'll happen in Tampa with Brady this year, but he's pretty good.
Speaking of Brady, Shane said Brady is going to ball out this season.
I think Chris Godwin's going to be a great fantasy option.
Turtle said I might have to hop on and talk about how Lamar is the most overrated in the league. Do you want to expand on that?
Turtle,
yeah, you want.
Well, no, we're talking about corners, right? So I would rather tell you why Marshawn Lattimore.
Well, you can do both.
Okay, do both. Yep, do both.
Well, only thing I really gotta say is Lamar Jackson's clutch gene is more awful than Kirk Cousins.
You missed an opportunity to say Matt Ryan, but that's fine.
So, I was about to leave this call if you said that.
Why is Lattimore number one?
Matt Ryan is a bottom 5
He just
QB.
is, bro.
That was Party.
That was Party. Oh, shit.
Is Party in the chat?
He keeps unmuting and muting.
Party!
I don't know what.
Just talk.
Is that Party?
Yeah, it is.
I want
He's
Billy.
talking like he's in a horror movie. Party, how the Colts going to do this year? 16-0?
19-0.
19-0.
Wasn't Turtle talking about how
I just wanted to
Lattimore is
say
the best
Matt
corner
Ryan
in
is
the
a
league?
bottom 5 QB.
Okay.
Everyone
I
just
can't
makes
say
it
you're
up.
wrong because that's your opinion, but okay, we can.
Joseph says,
Well,
do
if
you
y'all-
think
if y'all
Patricia...
want me-
Sorry, what?
If y'all want me to elaborate on why Marshawn Lattimore is the best corner in the league, join the Discord because I talk about it every.
Oh, good. Good plug.
Out of it.
Yes, sir.
Good work. Joseph
about to
says, do you
drama.
think Patricia will allow Undlin, I believe is his name, he's the new defensive coordinator, to be aggressive with more blitzing? Well, my thought is that I left this on one of my a guy that I watch. He does a lot of Lions videos. I forget his name actually, but seems like a cool dude. Might have him on the channel. Like he was mentioning how Patricia doesn't blitz a lot, and the thing is, like, I think Patricia will blitz more this year because they've made all the acquisitions and all the firepower in the back end and the secondary, and they're basically trying to create the Patriot defense. So if he did watch the Patriot defense last year and even watch Brian Flores in Miami, like their thing is to basically blitz because they don't have the talent up front and to play aggressive man coverage in the back end. And I just feel like Patricia, while he has been playing a lot of man coverage in Detroit, and in some games it's worked, in a lot of games, like last year when they lost a lot of players at the end of the year, it just didn't work because they didn't have the talent. If they blitz more and get a little bit more aggressive, they don't have to do it all the time, but just in certain situations, it might make them a lot better on defense just to get a sack or two a game or just to force a mistake or something, because that defense desperately needs to force mistakes and force turnovers. So I do think that they will get a little bit more aggressive, and he also comes from Philadelphia and under Schwartz. So we know that Schwartz loves to blitz. So I do think that there's going to be a little bit of blitz packages added to that defense this year, and it's going to be a more entertaining defense at least to watch.
Philadelphia.
Expand on that.
Sure, if you want.
Okay, so obviously the Lions this offseason added a corner from Atlanta named Desmond Trufant. And I told Mitch in the Discord chat, Desmond Trufant is one of the most inconsistent cornerbacks in the NFL. One game, he will shut down Michael Thomas. And the next game, he'll get absolutely mossed by Corey Davis. Like, you never know what's going to happen with this. But I think he fits Patricia's scheme well. And I do think they'll be more aggressive because they have the corners to be aggressive. You've seen, teams with great corners are able to be more aggressive because their corners can match up man-to-man with the opposing team's receivers. And I think the Lions...
Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lions with Okuda replacing Slay and adding Trufant. And I don't think their corners were necessarily the issue last year. I think it was more their linebackers and their safeties, and I've heard Mitch say the same thing. But I think overall, and I'm not a huge Patricia guy. I don't think he's a very good head coach, but I will say he was probably the first defensive coach to figure out the Rams offense.
He was.
If you look at the Rams-Lions game in 2018, and then if you look at Jared Goff's numbers and the Rams numbers from that point on through the end of 2018 and through 2019, it falls off a cliff. Like,
hold up, can I expand on that Rams comment?
Okay, Durcan, go ahead.
Jared Goff is the most system QB I have ever seen in my entire life, and it's not
Agreed.
even funny. He is a mediocre quarterback that got put into a system, and anyone saying he is above average doesn't watch Rams games.
I don't even think he's above. I don't even think he's average. I think that's actually being a little
I think
nice.
He is the 20th best quarterback right now.
And that I feel like you kind of. I don't remember where I had him, but I feel like you kind of have to make him a certain point just because the numbers look good. But then when you actually watch him play, it's like some of the most disgusting quarterback play at times.
And I will say, this was a few years back, but when the Falcons played the Rams in the wild card, that was kind of the start of kind of my dislike for Jared Goff, because the McVay, he basically reads the defense until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock. And so what the Falcons did was they shifted their formation and their defense, and they made it so it was different than what Goff had seen before. And Goff didn't play well in that game, and Goff hasn't played well very well consistently since. And I also think Cooper Kupp is getting overrated as well.
Yeah.
I thought you just said he was better than all these guys like 2 days ago.
I said he was better than Edelman because Edelman's kind of washed, but I don't think he's like top 10 like some people think.
It'll be interesting to see if people will consider Goff a bust if he has a few more down.
Well, he did go to the Super Bowl, so I feel like he's bought himself some time.
But I will pose a Kevul question.
Yes. Jim Harbaugh, he's going to be fired?
If the Rams don't do well and finish at the bottom of the division, which I think we all have met, is Sean McVay on the hot seat?
No. I think Goff will be on the hot seat before McVay.
Yeah, McVay is the only reason why that offense
is less Snead on the hot seat.
And I'll be honest, I actually think that McVay scares me when I'm making predictions because I feel like McVay can make this team good. Like
they have talent.
It's not like they don't like.
They have tight ends. They have. I just think that Goff and
they have arguably the best player in football.
They arguably have the best. We just talked about Ramsey, and they have Donald. They got better on the D-line. I mean, they are worse in some areas.
I think they lack depth.
They lack a lot of depth.
Rams. But especially like their linebacker core and their secondary has almost no depth.
I mean, they would have made the playoffs last year. You guys forget, like they would have made the playoffs last year if they make that field goal at the end of the game in Seattle. Like they're 10-6.
Or if they don't allow that huge play against the Niners. Remember that?
Yeah.
I feel like the Rams in the next coming years could be a little bit like how the Eagles have been, except they won't make the playoffs. Like they'll be good in games where their backs are against the wall.
And the problem, another thing is that Rams offensive line has just gotten worse every single season. Like they went from one of the best units in 2018 to one of the worst in 2019. I know statistically they were pretty good, but if you watched any Rams game, that line gave Goff almost no time to throw.
They were terrible in the Super Bowl too.
They were, and like especially their inside is awful. Their tackle play is okay, but their inside is just not very good.
SCU Production says, I have a question. In your honest opinion, what's the ceiling for the Broncos and what is the ceiling for Drew Lock? So I'll go first. I believe the ceiling for the Broncos is, I think it's AFC Championship game. Depending on the development of Lock and the development of the offense. When you look at the offensive line and who they have coaching it, and the players that they've added to the offensive line, like I was impressed just looking across and ranking them, and I do feel like they can be solid. They have their running game to do it, and if Drew Lock can make some plays in the passing game with the weapons they have now, I think Noah Fant's going to take a big jump. I think Sutton's already there, and Jerry Jeudy can just a little bit, like him and Hamler, just a little bit pitch in, and then defensively, they're going to be one of the 10 best in the league. So if one of those Ravens or Chiefs slip, the Broncos are one of the teams that could realistically make a jump into the AFC Championship if that's their ceiling. I don't think they'll get to the Super Bowl even in their best year, but I think right now, AFC Championship, I wouldn't be absolutely blown away. And the ceiling for Drew Lock, like the guy that I do compare, Ultra's going to laugh, to Drew Lock is I actually do see Matt Stafford in Drew Lock. Is that his ceiling, though? Like, he has a lot of physical talent. He has a great release. He can move a little bit. He has a strong arm. So I'd feel like Matt Stafford is about the guy that I think that he is going to be in the league. Ultra?
You want me to go?
You want me to, or Ultra to go?
Ultra, go ahead.
Okay, so one thing I will
You're being
say
rated by
about
Hot Take
Denver.
Hockey.
Oh,
One thing I will say about Denver is I don't think they have like a hole. Like, there's a lot of teams like, okay, that is their weak spot. I don't think there is one with Denver. Like, after they patched up their wide receiver core in the draft, there's not really a bad area on their team. Like, maybe Drew Lock, but like I think he's shown promise. I actually kind of agree with the Matt Stafford comparisons. And they did last year. I think they went into Houston and they just dismantled them. And that was the week after Houston beat New England. So they did win a big game last year, and they went 4-1 down the stretch. I think Denver's ceiling, I think there's a tier 1 of AFC teams. That's the Chiefs and the Ravens. I think they're in the same tier as, like, maybe not quite at the same level, but somewhere around the level of the Bills, Steelers, Browns. They're around that level, whereas if one of those teams don't get there, they're one of the teams I could see getting in there. I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl, but I do think they can get to the AFC Championship game. And as for Drew Lock, a lot of people have been having him as a dark horse MVP candidate. So much so that is he even a dark horse anymore? I don't know. But I do think he has a pretty high ceiling, and I did like what I saw from him at the end of the year. And I thought he was pretty solid at Missouri too. I mean, that's not a very good program in college football, but he made a lot of plays at Missouri that I thought were pretty good as well. So that's my opinion.
All right. Shout out to John. Shout out to Hot Take Hockey and the raid. What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming in.
There's another raid.
Hopefully you guys subscribe if you enjoy the NFL and hit that like button. Thanks for joining. And if you want to stick around, we're just talking NFL. Shout out to John, though. Good guy. I know him personally. Go to school with him. So if you guys are fans of hockey as well, go check his channel out. I don't know where I was in the chat.
Durkant,
so
you want to talk about the Broncos?
Yeah, Durkant, go ahead.
Okay, so as far as their ceiling goes, I think that their ceiling is honestly the divisional round, because as of right now, I think that they are the 6th best team in the AFC right now, behind the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Browns, Steelers. And I do think that Jerry Jeudy is the best wide receiver from that draft, and that he is going to be better than Sutton. I think.
I don't know if he's better than CD.
I don't know if he's going to be better than Sutton. That's a stretch.
I do.
I actually think he will be better than Sutton, but I think I don't know if he'll be the
you
best.
Think he'll be better than Sutton?
Oh, this year? No, I think next year.
I think career-wise, he'll have a better career, but I don't think he'll be better this year.
Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think he'll be better than CD.
I would agree with that, but I also think Dak is better than Jared Goff or Drew Lock.
That's going to be interesting, though, because like Jerry Jeudy, how good he does in year one or how great he is, that's going to help Lock a lot.
And KJ Hamler's speed in the slot also.
Like, they can do it all, man. What's their ceiling, though? You think Durkant?
I can't see them making the AFC Championship, though, because I feel like there are a lot of. I don't think that they're the team that would make it if either the Ravens or Chiefs miss. I think that a team like Buffalo or Cleveland would sneak in there instead.
So what's their ceiling?
The divisional round.
Divisional round. Okay. Turtle, do you want to chime in at all? Or Bus? Is Bus still in here?
Okay, can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with Durant, and I think they're gonna go divisional round. But I think this season depends on if their O-line can hold up and give Drew Lock time to give it to the targets like Fant, Gordon, Hamler, Sutton. And then the defense, they added like Drill Casey and that steal. And I think their defense is going to be a lot more better. And they added AJ Boye and Drill Casey. So I think they're going to be a lot more better team, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get through teams like the Ravens or Chiefs or anything.
I think someone asked me this before. Who's your favorite college team? And I always say two teams because it's the truth. Miami and Michigan are my two favorite, and Michigan for obvious reasons. Miami also a little for obvious reasons. I actually began liking Miami not for anything related to NFL, actually because The Rock went to Miami. That's the reason I started liking the Hurricanes and then eventually just became a fan.
I'm a Georgia fan for life.
Could have called that. Thoughts on Okuda and how he will do, says Joey.
He's a beast.
I think he'll be really good this year.
Me too.
I think he'll be really good.
Yeah,
I actually.
That's interesting.
I give Mitch like
I don't have
a lot.
much to say.
I give Mitch like a lot of
besides
all
that.
the Lions. Oh, you're a Lions fan, but I am rising.
Oh, a riser! I'm convincing people. Do you guys notice? You probably don't notice because you don't have all the videos pop up on your home screen like I do. But I always get Lions videos popped up. There are so many people that have copied my Lions videos. It's actually hilarious. I'm taking credit for that, by the way.
I am rising on this team. I still have them at 8-8 and out of the playoffs, but I see a scenario where they win the division.
Interesting.
All I'm gonna say is this: Jeff Okuda is definitely going to be the Lions' #1 corner.
From day one.
Day one.
I mean, it's not crazy that he has a Denzel Ward or Lattimore year in his rookie year.
I think
if he's
I think
Denzel
that he'll
Ward or
be
Lattimore,
a defensive
then
rookie of the year candidate. I don't know how Chase Young's going to be. I think Chase Young's going to be a beast, but I think that if Young doesn't win it, Okuda's going to be the one to win it.
I think that Trufont's going to start it because he's got the veteran and he's more experienced in the NFL. But I think that's going to be week one. If Okuda can prove himself, then he'll take over the job over Trufant.
I will say, if Okuda plays to his potential, then the Lions have one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
I agree. Jack and Fabian say hello and hi. Now I'm echoing for some reason.
Yeah, I'm echoing also.
Some people are saying Slay is high on their list. Where do you guys have Slay, just quickly?
Slay is overrated.
People talking about, like, what are the 49ers going to do, I see, is skipping these comments.
Last season, he wasn't a top 10 corner.
How do we feel about Desmond King?
He's underrated.
Really?
He is an underrated player as well.
He is a great player. I think that getting him back healthy will be amazing for the Chargers.
And I know he got abused by Julian Edelman in that playoff game, but I
absolutely abused by the guy you just said was overrated.
I think that people are kind of sleeping on Edelman's season last year, though. He had a lot of drops, but he was pretty productive considering the circumstances.
He also was their only weapon, though, in the passing.
And he also was getting double teamed every game.
Yeah.
For a slot receiver, that's not easy. Aaron says the Broncos ain't going to the AFC Championship. I really don't think they make the playoffs. They're in a tough division, and we don't know what Drew Lock is going to be.
Can I pose a question?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm seeing a lot of comments about the 49ers. So I'm going to say something about the 49ers. Every year, the team that loses the Super Bowl does not come back as strong as they did the year previous.
Yes.
I've lived through this with the Falcons.
Other than New
We
England.
saw it. Yeah, other than New England. And they have got the greatest coach and quarterback in history. So
I mean, let's be
maybe.
real. The Patriots win, what, 11-5 the year after they lost the Super Bowl? That
And
wasn't.
they won the Super.
And they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl.
But that regular season wasn't.
Okay, we'll go through it. So
13
okay, so 07 they lost to the Giants, but they had Matt Castle the next year, so that they went 11-5. That's not really fair. Okay, so 2011. They lost the Super Bowl to the Giants. They did lose the AFC Championship, but they still went to the AFC Championship, and they lost the Super Bowl champion.
That was like a down. That's like a typical down year for the Patriots.
Losing
and
this,
12-4, losing in the AFC Championship.
Until last year. So, like, and then in
that's what I'm
2017, 2018, they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, they're the only team that you can really think of, other than that's it. Like even Seattle.
Like I guess the Falcons did make the playoffs after they lost the Super Bowl, but they weren't the same offense. They weren't the same team. And the Niners, okay, if the Niners get better play from Jimmy, then they could be 13-3 again. But if Jimmy plays as like the way he did last year, and that front four isn't as good as it was last year, I do think they've got a great offensive line. But if you can take away George Kittle, I worry about their weapons. I have them at 11-5 and winning this division right now, but I think there will be a regression this year.
Here's the thing. I think that they're going to be better on offense, like in a passing perspective, because of Garoppolo's going to take the next step, and I'm echoing again. I think he's going to take the next step, but that defense is going to take a step back, resulting in generally the same team. But they got a little lucky in games last year.
I know.
Like the Seahawks won.
The Saints game, they were very lucky to win. Both games against the Cardinals were close. They, of course, lost.
Aaron Wise says that the 49ers will miss the playoffs.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I could see it, but because of Kyle, I'm not going to say it's going to happen.
I'm on that Arizona train.
I think you're overrating Arizona. But let me ask Mitch a question here. How are the Niners going to do on defense if Richard Sherman goes down? Because I don't think they've got a ton of depth in that corner core.
It depends how Witherspoon plays and if they get Jason Verrett back, because I believe he's still signed to them.
Jason Verrett gets hurt like every.
He literally gets hurt every year, but you cannot say that when he plays, he is not good.
He is good. He was great
but
on the Chargers.
This is the thing about that
never
scheme.
Is on the field.
That scheme, it's very replaceable. You can stick corners in that scheme very easily. I think that's why Seattle was still able to maintain a good defense even when they lost some of their corners.
Yeah, but I don't think that pass rush will be as good as it was last year.
That's going to be a tragic loss for anybody, though, like losing their number one corner. Obviously, it's not going to be as good, but I'm just saying I think if they were to lose, let's say if you lost Sherman or you lost Nick Bosa, I think Nick Bosa would be a bigger loss.
And
what about Fred Warner?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting because they lost Alexander last year, and it didn't really seem to matter that much.
It did because they got lit up by the Saints, and then they lost to the Falcons and got lit up. So they actually didn't play well defensively when they didn't have them.
That's true. I think Alexander's actually underrated. Everyone talks about Warner, but
oh yeah, he's good. He's good.
Here, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. I'll be back.
Party's in the chat but not talking. He says talk about sleeper teams, but he's in.
I want to answer this first. SCU says that CD is a third string. How is he better than Judy? It's because he has Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup in front of him.
Bro,
Yeah,
I literally
that's a
did
pretty
the
dumb
blind
question.
resume. Michael Gallup put up basically the same amount of yards and one less touchdown than DeAndre Hopkins in one less game. And you're like, and a freaking Amari Cooper, one of the best route runners in the NFL, and he's like, oh, CD's a third string. How is he better than Judy? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, that's my thing. I think Judy is going to have a better season than CD Lamb. I do think that he's the best receiver from the draft, but it's pretty close.
Jesse says the Lions will finish second in the North with potential of finishing first.
This is what I have to say about the Packers. teams that win games like how they won them last year rarely
5-1
just ever
in
bounce
one-score
back.
games.
Yeah, they got so lucky in a few games, and they always won from the clips of their toenails.
The only team that wins one-score games every year and gets the same luck every single season, and they never blow anyone out, is the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks are the most frustrating team in NFL
I know.
history.
They barely
them.
beat Matt Schaub last year.
Yeah, they beat the Bengals by 1, but somehow
How's
play
that
the
possible?
49ers.
They beat the
thing.
49ers? Like, what?
Yeah.
This is the thing. I feel like they have to play that way to survive. Like, remember when I would always say that Seahawks aren't going to make the playoffs? Like, I think I said that 2 years in a row. And they still made it.
2 years in a row.
It made all the sense in the world, except that they would always win these games that they shouldn't be winning.
Like, the only reasons that they would make the playoffs was, 1, because they have a top 5 quarterback, and 2, because they have a top. Well, he's a top 2 quarterback right now, but I'm talking about the last 2 seasons. Like, entering this season, he was not the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
And they had a great coach. But on the Packers, I expect regression. And I can see when this team starts to lose games, the tension between LaFleur and Rodgers start to heat up.
I'm worried about that offense in Green Bay.
I am sold on Minnesota more than you guys are. I think they have proven they are a consistent team that has a winning record usually, and I do think they'll make the playoffs. But I don't think Minnesota is going to win the division. I think the division will actually come down to the Lions and the Packers. But I think the team that doesn't win the division out of those two will come third. And I think the Bears are going to be in fourth. I'm not buying into what the Bears are doing.
The Bears are probably going to get Justin Fields.
I just can't see the Bears with a quarterback that's bottom 5, like either way, and an offensive line that's bottom 5. Like, how are you going to move the ball?
And one good weapon.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
And I think Matt Nagy is getting overrated as well. I don't see him as much more than an average coach.
Does Kinlaw have a chance at Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I would say so.
I don't really. It's hard for me to see him really winning it.
I don't think he's my pick, but I think he's in the top 5.
It's more due to the defensive line talent around him. I think that a lot of plays that he might have a chance at getting, it will be stolen by somebody like Nick Bosa or Eric Armstead. But somebody like Okuda would have a bigger impact, or Chase Young.
Yeah, I would say. Or is Turtle going to speak? Is that Turtle?
I just said Isaiah Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons. I forgot about him.
I was just going to say, like, I feel he won't get the opportunity to win it. Like, I don't think he'll play enough snaps. There's just too many good players on that D-line that even guys that we don't talk about that are good.
What do you think about Kyle Fuller? So I think Kyle Fuller in 2018 was one of the best corners in the NFL. Last year, I think he took a step down, and I think he's a little overrated. But I think he's a good player. I don't think he's elite the way Nicholas Gill over here thinks he is.
He's a top
20 corner.
Yeah, he's top 20. Yeah.
He's not top 10, but he's top 20. And I think Mitch agrees with us on that.
We'll see.
He's not top 10.
Wasn't he on your overrated players video?
He was.
Yeah.
I think he's a number 1 corner, but he's at the bottom of the list.
Eddie Jackson, though. Eddie Jackson is a beast.
Yeah, he's good.
Prediction for Josh Allen and the Bills. I know that Durkant wants to say something about that.
I wish I didn't have to say this, but I do think the Bills are really good this year. I think they have an elite defense. Their offense is just steadily getting better. And I think that they'll be a team that gets anywhere from 10 to 12 wins, and they have a shot. They're the third best bet for the Super Bowl in the AFC, in my opinion.
Are they one of the teams that can get into the AFC Championship if one of the two
Yes, I
top
think that they
sides-
can
Yep.
beat. I think that they can beat Baltimore.
Okay. I am on the Bills train, and even if you look at them last year, outside of the Eagles game, did they get blown out? I don't think they did. They lost to the Patriots 2 times by I think 1 score. The first
Yeah.
game they completely stopped the Patriots offense. Second game, Tom Brady actually looked like a god, but Josh Allen I thought played well in that game. But they almost beat the Ravens. Like outside of the Eagles game, they competed in every game last year. And adding
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs will open up more of the passing game this year. I think Josh Allen will take a step up. I have them right now at 10-6, and they have an elite defense. I have them at 10-6, and it's the 3rd seed right now. I do have them out in the divisional round, but I could easily see them. I could see them getting to the Super Bowl if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah,
I think they're in
there's
the
a world.
bubble. I think they're
There's a
in
world.
Mitch's Super Bowl bubble with the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Super Bowl dark horse goes to the Believeland Browns.
I give the dark horse.
I
to
would
the
just
Steelers.
retweet what these guys said. I think the Bills are that 3rd team in the AFC that, depending on what happens, I feel like they can definitely, like Ultra said, can get to the Super Bowl. I think they're definitely winning the AFC East. I don't even think it's a debate.
I don't know about definitely. I'm not.
I
wish I
think
could say
there
the
is
Bills. I
a
wish.
75% chance they win the division.
I'm not willing to write off the Patriots completely.
I'm giving the
until I
Patriots
see them.
20%, and then the other 2 teams, they can have 5.
My percentages would be Jets 5%, Dolphins 7%, Patriots 30%, and Bills
You're about to mess this up.
58%. No, I know that. I know that.
You nailed
58,
it. Math
30,
genius, Matt
7
Stafford.
and 5. Yeah, I watched that video. Unfortunately, it was cringe.
I'm sorry, I can't see the Patriots being that good this year. Their offense is just atrocious.
I'm
and
not
their
willing
schedule's
to
way
write
tough.
them off, Kirkman.
I'm sorry.
I'm kind of with their can't, but like, I think
I just think Buffalo.
Their defense
I think that Buffalo
is
sweeps
like,
them.
I don't think Buffalo's gonna.
I just
sweep
think Buffalo
them. I
sweeps
think they'll
them.
split. I think they will.
I think they actually beat Buffalo, but I don't think it really has anything to do with Buffalo.
I can't see a Bill Belichick-led team doing poorly. I just can't. I'm sorry.
I think they're gonna have between 7 and 9 wins, but
I
and
have
I wouldn't be
them
shocked if they
right
had 10. But I'm just
I think
I just can't.
if I were
see
to
that
go
offense
high end, low
being
end,
ranked.
I think their high end is 10. I think their low end is 7.
yeah, I probably agree. Thanks, Kate, for subscribing. I believe there was a question about any tips for starting a channel. And, like, people ask me this sometimes, and I'm just like, seriously, you just got to work your ass off, and that's really it. And it's not like a cliche. Seriously, you just got to do as much as you possibly can and just make videos that you feel like you would like to watch, or, like, that you would regularly write down, like, before I ever started making videos, I used to just write down, like, probably Ultra under Can't Do right now, like in a notebook or something, just like, or typing, like just writing down like predictions. And I basically made that. I made that into videos, and that's how I started doing stuff. And eventually you'll get good at it. Eventually you'll get good at talking and being on camera, and eventually you'll get good at editing, and you just get better every time, and eventually it becomes addicting, like anything that you like. But you have to like it. If you don't enjoy doing it, don't get into it for no reason. Like, you have to enjoy doing it, or it's not going to work.
Okay, so I found 2 questions here I find interesting. I'm going to ask you guys. So, Opium says Patrick Queen will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. How do you feel about that? Nope.
I like Opium, but I'm not sure about that.
I don't really see it. I think he's going to be good, but I don't think.
I think he'll probably be. I think he'll be good this year. I don't think he'll be Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then Mitch's burner account, Chance Corey, says odds Matthew
Chance?
Stafford can carry the Detroit Lions to the playoffs.
100%.
I don't think
No,
he'll have to. I don't think he'll have to carry them. I think they're a talented team.
No, but when I'm realistically looking at the Lions, like, this is realistic. I'm not just BSing people. I'm not making this up just to get views, okay?
You are.
Seriously, okay? Matt, this offense is good. Bevel is a good OC, especially what I saw from him last year. They'll be able to run the ball. I think Stafford can throw it better than just about anybody in the league. He's going to put up 4,500 yards. He's going to have about 30 touchdowns to 12 picks, but they're going to run the ball well, and they're going to keep their defense off the field, and Patricia will do enough on defense. So I think with Ultra, I don't think he'll have to carry them, but as long as he can win a couple of games that are close, which he has in the past, then they should be able to win this division and make the playoffs.
I will say this. They are a talented team. I will also say I'm not enamored with this offensive line. I think outside of Frank Ragnow, I think is good. I look at the other starters, I'm like, Vitae probably overpaid. Taylor Decker, has he really lived up to what people thought he would be? Like, I'm not enamored with that. And I think if their linebackers are fast and if they are able to play well, then I think they probably make the playoffs. I just have questions about those two units right now. But they could make the playoffs. Like 2 months ago, if someone said, "Oh, Lions are going to make the playoffs," I would have laughed. Now I'm not. Now I could see a world where the Lions make the playoffs and win the division.
Here's the thing. I think that
overstate their weaknesses. Like Green Bay and Minnesota have pretty glaring weaknesses too, but you don't take those into account as much.
For sure, no, for sure. But
it's just the recent success. But I feel like just to go on that point with Durkant, I feel like the Lions with Stafford would have been 8-8 or 9-7 last year.
I agree.
But that still probably would have gotten third in the division.
Yeah, yes, but they added some players. They got better, I believe.
And Durkant to say. I know you said I don't point out Minnesota and Green Bay's weaknesses as much.
I just said that you don't. Yeah, you.
Yeah, I
just feel like you don't.
Green Bay and Minnesota each have weaknesses, as well as the Lions. I think they're all kind of in the same level of teams. But my thing is, I saw Green Bay still have weaknesses and go 13-3 and win the division. I saw Minnesota have the same weaknesses and go 10-6 and make the playoffs and win a playoff game. So. I haven't seen the Lions be able to work around their weaknesses, whereas the other two teams, I have more faith in Matt LaFleur and Mike Zimmer than I do in Matt Patricia. That's what I have.
When does the BLV league start? It starts on Saturday. That's when the draft is.
Can I go on about the Lions?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think the Lions are going to be in the playoffs for the next 2 or 3 years. Because I think you have a Cardinals team that's young and getting better. That's going to get better every year. You got a Seahawks team that may drop off, but they're still good right now. They're still competing for that around those last couple wild card spots if the 49ers don't get it. And then you got the Vikings there too. You got the Cowboys competing there with young players like CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott if he comes to anything. And then so you got all these teams competing for these last wildcard spots, and I just don't feel like the Lions are going to be able to compete for those wildcard spots.
Hold on. Let me read this real quick from Matt R. Not every team in the league can get better. Name 5 teams that
I'm doing that right now. Okay. I
5
pulled up
teams
the
that
teams.
didn't get better.
Okay, I'll name 2 in that division.
Didn't get better.
2 in that division.
The Vikings and Packers.
The Vikings and Packers.
I think
the Bears didn't get better either.
I think the Vikings are. I know they have a lot of roster turnover. I don't think there's a lot of roster getting worse.
I do.
As can't think so. I think Michael Pierce is better than Linval Joseph.
I don't think it's really a huge difference. They lost
Stephon
Weatherly
Diggs.
at DN. They lost Stephon Diggs. They replaced him with a rookie.
Everson.
They lost Everson and probably not getting him back.
but,
they
like,
lost all
they
their
have no
corners, and I
corners
understand
at
that
this point,
they
yeah.
brought
Their
in
corners
rookies.
were shit last year.
Yeah,
Dude.
but they're rookies.
Xavier Rhodes made the Pro Bowl while allowing like 120 passer rating last
I think
year.
Mackenzie Alexander is pretty good.
Their corners have higher upside this year. I think what'll happen with Minnesota is they'll be a mediocre team to start, and then they'll start to hit their stride towards the end
Their
of the year.
O-line
with their
got
young
worse.
players.
And I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
trust. I'm gonna be honest. I can't really trust how that offense is going to perform if Dalvin Cook goes down. And I think that that's
And I
a
know-
legitimate
yes.
concern because Dalvin Cook is
They
injury
lost.
prone.
They lost Kevin Stefanski, but Gary Kubiak also had a lot to do with that offense.
Who else got worse? I would say the Rams,
But
The
you
Rams,
guys
the
never-
Patriots.
Carolina,
Carolina
New
got
England,
worse. I don't-
obviously.
The
And
Saints got better.
Houston.
I think the other team, Houston. Yep.
Yeah, Houston got worse. Yeah.
Do we think
Houston
the Chargers
actually
got
does.
better or worse?
I
Or
think
they
the
got better.
Titans.
Wait, hold on.
They
I
got
think
better.
I think the Titans might have gotten
O-line
worse.
got better.
Okay,
Titans,
hold on.
yeah. Titans.
I think the Jags aren't worse yet, but they're going to get worse once they lose.
Oh, the Jags are
once
worse.
they lose later.
The Jags
they're-
are way worse, dude.
they're
I
the
know,
worst
but
team
they're
in the
gonna
league.
get even way worse once they lose Fournette and what's it? What's it?
Anyways,
actually interested-
hopefully that helped what he just asked. I think we just named like 6 to 8 teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that got worse. There's also
This
a lot of
person
teams that
Harris
got better.
says Houston isn't worse.
Their
I'm
Bro,
sorry.
did you?
their
Dude,
defense
like,
is
they
worse. I
lost-
don't care if you think the offense is the same or better or whatever. The defense is way worse.
First
The
of all, they
Texans have
lost
no
the
defense.
top 5. First of all, they lost the top 5 wide receiver, and that defense got way worse. Like that defense has
Yeah, that-
more holes than Swiss cheese. Like honestly, they.
You don't like Swiss cheese?
Bro, they're relying on the
No, I'm
injured
saying
every
they
year,
have-
JJ Watt.
I don't mind Swiss
To
cheese,
carry them.
but Kevinder can't. I don't mind Swiss cheese, but like you know how Swiss cheese has a lot of holes, the Texans defense has more.
Oh yes.
But
Any more questions? This
NFC South.
chat's going hard though.
Yeah, and they said
Okay.
that, and they were talking about how you started it too late.
so Matt R says the entire AFC West got better, and I don't think the Chiefs got better. I don't think they got worse.
Yeah, the Chiefs didn't
I
get
think
better.
they're
The
about
Chiefs are the
same.
team, yeah.
Raiders probably got better.
Oh,
Broncos
Raiders got a
and
lot
Chargers
better.
got
Raiders
better.
are
The refs got
sleep.
better.
Yeah, everyone's sleeping on the. I almost said
I am-
Oakland, Las
I'm gonna
I
Vegas.
be
am
honest,
I
I
am
can see a world.
fascinated.
Okay, I want.
Don't say it.
Something. I saw a person named Fabian Torres say something in the chat.
What do you say?
Will Fuller.
Will Fuller is overrated.
Oh no.
He's
That
not
is
when he
so-
plays.
He's not overrated. Just because he's been through. Yes, he's injury prone, but he's been under DeAndre Hopkins, who's taken the role for him. If you've seen, if you watch Texans games, he's had his games. He's one of the best. Like he's a great like route runner and all that stuff.
I think that he's gonna go for like 1,200 yards this year.
Yeah, he's gonna
I
have a
can't-
break.
I
I'm
don't think
telling
he
you.
can stay
I
on
can't
the
trust him.
fields to get
Yeah.
that much.
No,
I can't
listen.
trust him.
This
I think
guy
he's
is
gonna
hurt
have a
every
breakout
year.
I'm just saying
think he
if
Yeah, but
he's
he
on the
really
field.
is-
Okay, let's say per game. I think he's gonna have 85 yards per game.
I would
He's
go
good.
like
He's really
I
good
would
when he's
say
healthy,
I
but-
would say if I were to project his season stats, like maybe he'll get over 1,000 yards and maybe 8 to 10 touchdowns.
It's just
I
there's
don't
only
think
one
he'll
thing.
get that.
There's only one thing. It's either he's having a really crazy game or he's having a mediocre game.
Yeah,
Okay.
but don't you think that's because he's a receiver too, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He's been behind Hopkins his whole career, and he's never had that number one chance.
And he's never had a
get
number
that.
one.
He had 75 yards per game last year.
Sabrina says BLV has a good media voice, and obviously you're talking about Busboy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Hopium says, who is the best linebacker? You guys can give that answer because I'm doing rankings, so I don't want to give it away.
The best
Darius
inside
Leonard.
linebacker, Darius
Best
Leonard.
Best outside linebacker, T.J. Watt. There you go.
Yeah.
Where's
probably
Trevor
TJ Watt.
Kinney so he can tell you Bobby Wagner's the best?
Yeah,
Where's Trevor when you need?
Why do you hate
Unpopular-
Bobby so much?
I don't hate Bobby Wagner.
Nobody hates Bobby. He's just
I always
not the
thought
best.
Bobby Wagner was better than Luke Kuechly.
No.
He was.
At their
He really
peak,
wasn't, dude.
not even a conversation.
Luke was, yeah.
The
Peak
best
Luke is
middle
literally
line-
one of the best linebackers of all time. I don't care what. He
The
was
best middle linebacker of the decade was Bobby Wagner. I'm sorry.
hard.
It was.
Someone kick him out
Okay,
of the chat.
so
Yeah,
so
hard
depressed
disagree.
Steelers fans said
You can say
AFC
it's my anti-Panthers bias, but you know.
I know you want to ask this question, Ultra, so get to it. My burner account.
Where is it? Who's your favorite dark horse for MVP this season? Well, Mitch's
Are we
pick.
thinking-
I'm not even gonna let Mitch speak here. Mitch's pick is Matthew Stafford. 'Cause Matt Stafford is.
Number 9 on the Lions.
Mitch thinks that if Matt Stafford were in Kansas City, we'd be saying the same things we say about Mahomes about Stafford.
I don't think it's far off.
I
You
mean,
literally
honestly,
link like videos of
What
like
we're saying-
throws Matt Stafford has made that if Patrick Mahomes made. we'd be
Literally,
going
though, it's
crazy over.
hilarious.
Yeah, but like
no,
I could
that
do,
was
like,
more that
throws-
really didn't have
throw-
anything to do with Stafford. It had more to do with Mahomes and the fact that Mahomes gets credit for doing absolutely nothing sometimes just because he's like the hype guy right now.
But Mahomes.
He's amazing. I'm not trying to take anything away from Mahomes. I'm just saying, like sometimes
Yeah,
he'll
sometimes
like
he does
just
get-
throw the
I've-
ball
Okay,
for 5
okay,
yards.
okay,
Pass,
okay,
yeah.
okay, wait.
I've seen him throw some bad passes. and
So
Tyreek
I
just
found
bail him out.
I found 2 questions.
Okay.
So Harris Beard says, "Can y'all explain how the Texans defense got worse?"
You
Lost
guys
DJ
can
Reader,
handle this.
No corners. JJ Watt's injury prone, and
They
they
lost
were already
Jonathan
bad beside
Joseph.
that. So yeah.
And then-
DJ Reader, number 1 reason.
And then Mason Jones says, "Can the Saints beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?" Now that is a matchup
is
that I
ve-
could see
that is-
happening.
I mean, they
That
play
is
in the
very
regular
possible.
season.
I will
They do play in
say
the regular season.
not to get in Turtle's head here, but
Mitch Turtle is in this chat. If you say anything negative, he's about to go off. You.
this is the reason I think the Chiefs would win.
Oh, here it
You're
is.
gonna say Chris Jones.
Why is it Drew Brees?
Big plays, that's all I'll say.
Oh yeah, Michael Thomas doesn't make big plays. I'm sorry.
I feel like the Saints could move the ball, but eventually there's going to be a time where the Chiefs stop them, and the Chiefs will just be able to make a
Okay.
couple of big plays and win the game.
Mitch, how are they going to stop
Well, let
those
me-
swing
well, let me get
passes,
this out.
bro? All those swing passes. How?
The
dude?
the X factor of
That's true.
that game would be Chris Jones because we know they're not getting much pressure off the edge.
Yeah, well,
Their
you got to get
offensive
there
line
before
is
Drew Brees
young.
throws a swing pass. That's pretty hard to do.
Don't forget those bubble screens too.
Can I
You know,
talk about a question that was asked in chat?
Michael Thomas slants.
he does.
How did you
all he
guys
does
like
is
it
run
on my
slants.
Patreon breakdown when I just went swing pass?
Reason for why Texans
You
defense
weren't-
got worse is Texans were bad last year and Watt injury is worse. That's like
what?
this guy doesn't make any sense. Like he's like
they were
the only
already-
reason
Wait, first of
they
all-
were a bottom.
I will
10
say
defense
this.
last year and they lost their best D tackle.
Bradley Roby is good.
He's good. Is he a number 1 corner?
I think he is. The more I think about it.
They got worse on defense. They were
Is he
already bad
Jamel
on
Dean?
defense.
Is he Jamel Dean?
That I don't know. Honestly, though, if Jamel Dean played more than 380 snaps, I would have put him in my top 20.
Jamel Dean is so underrated.
Yeah, because he can lock up Kenny Stills.
No,
Mm-hmm.
because he can lock up fucking Calvin Ridley, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Calvin.
Hello?
Calvin
Sorry,
Ridley.
I got glitched.
Calvin Ridley's a top 30. Calvin Ridley's better than Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I don't debate that.
There's a dip.
It's close.
I don't think it's that.
2002 Bucks or 2000 Ravens?
2000 Ravens.
2000 Ravens is the best defense of all time.
I'd still go 85 Bears, but yeah, I'd go 2000 Ravens probably second.
Who's going to be the worst team?
The
Jags. Mitch, didn't you have the Steel Curtain Steelers as the best defense of all time in your all-time?
The last time I did that list was like 2015, and yes, I did.
I think you did, yeah.
And I still don't know if I disagree with my take.
I think it's the 85 Bears. No,
in a season, I don't think they were the best, but over a long period of time, which is very difficult to do for any defense, they're probably the best.
The 2000 Ravens, though, did some crazy things, considering what their offense, how many blunders their offense had.
Okay,
yeah.
Party says, I think Josh Jacobs can be the best running back in the NFL.
Hard disagree. I don't see
I think he can be top.
Saquon declining. He can be top 5.
I think he can be top 5 or 6. I don't know about top 1.
I think Jacobs could lead the league in rushing.
I think so too.
I don't know if he could be the best by like just rankings perspective.
Yeah, but you've got to think about it.
Think that
CMC is special. Saquon is special. I know I had him 4th in the rankings.
I think Saquon's gonna have like 2,000 yards this year again.
I think CMC might have 2,000 yards again too. So like.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. So I saw a question by the Depressed Steelers fan. He said the AFC North predictions.
Number 1 Ravens, number 2 Browns, number 3 Steelers, number 4 Bengals.
Should I give my record? Like, should I give my record? Or should
Dude, the Steelers are going to be better than the Browns. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Ravens 12-4, Browns 11-5, Steelers 10-6, Bengals 4-12.
Ravens 12-4, Steelers 10-6, Browns 6, Bengals 3-13.
I think that the Browns should be.
I think the Steelers get
real
some
Super
weird
Bowl dark horse.
tiebreaker. The Steelers got the tiebreaker for something.
I think the Browns and Steelers are almost going to be exactly the same.
Yeah,
I have the name.
I don't know. The Browns had a tiebreaker in my bracket.
It's just like if Baker plays closer to the way he did in 2018 rather than 2019.
Nick Chubb God mode.
Because their two biggest holes last year was offensive line and defensive line, and they got markedly better in both.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see why.
And their secondary is good.
If Baker doesn't do it this year, they got to move on.
I feel like Baker's underrated, though. He gets all this hate when he had a bad line last year.
It's funny how Baker gets all this hate and Darnold.
But Darnold gets all, yeah.
Bro, do people actually realize this now?
I've always been on that train. Darnold is not good.
Okay. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if Nicholas Gill is watching this or not, but Sam Darnold is not better than Josh Allen. Like, come on.
It's not even close.
It's not even a debate. They're not even on the same level.
Wasn't Nicholas Gill? Wasn't Nick?
Yeah.
Like, that's just.
I absolutely clowned him in the Discord chat.
We all clowned him.
But the thing I hate is just like these communities and like Ultra. I know you're a big PFF fan, and I like PFF as well. They do some good things. But like for them to continue to say all this bad stuff about Josh Allen and not a single negative is just. It's them not willing to let go of their take at the beginning.
Oh, I disagree with PFF about Josh Allen. I thought he was the reason the Bills' offense was competent last year.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
For what he's able to do,
even Lamar had limitations.
Yeah,
Lamar had no wide receivers last year.
Yeah, he had Marquise Brown as his number 1, and he won. MVP.
And he was injury prone, and he
pulled a Cam Newton. He had no wide receivers and won MVP.
Honestly, though, what would people be saying about Sam Darnold if he had the offense that Josh Allen had? Like John Brown is his number 1, and Cole Beasley is his number 2.
I don't even know. Was it Robert or someone in like his number 3?
Yeah, but like before the year last year, we're like, oh, these guys are like journeyman, nice receivers, but they're nothing special. And then all of a sudden, John Brown's 1,000 yards and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's
like before the year.
Kind of my thing. Like the Jets' weapons really weren't that much worse than the Bills last season.
Yeah.
And it's all based on the fact that Sam Darnold beat the Cowboys last year.
I mean, and I'm like, so did Allen.
That's the only reason. But so
Allen
did Allen. That's my
Dallas.
point. And Allen doesn't see ghosts, even though he played just as poorly in Week 4 as Darnold did in Week 7. But he doesn't see ghosts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Allen was way more impressive than Darnold last season.
Should we organize some NFL debates between BLV viewers?
Except for the lateral.
Only on If you want me to do that, you have to subscribe to Patreon.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Subscribe to Patreon, everyone. Mitch.
Subscribe to Patreon, you'll be in the franchise.
Subscribe to Patreon, and I'll do that for you, pal.
You don't have to do.
And you'll be in Madden.
Yeah, you'll be in Madden.
You'll be in Madden.
Depressed Steeler fan. What was he asking? Is solid. He don't suck. He just had a terrible coach, but this is the Baker year to go off. He has all the talent on offense. So if they end up with a bad record again, who's 5%
There's no more excuses for Baker.
Okay, so Aaron Wise says Sam Darnold isn't as good because he doesn't have any talent. But like my thing is, wouldn't we say last year the Bills and Jets had somewhat comparable offensive cast?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Like Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is better than any offensive player that was on here.
And like the offensive lines, like if you actually go back and watch the Bills,
outside of Mitch Morse, there's nothing on the Bills' offensive line.
Yeah, they're not really. And my thing is with Darnold is that there's nothing that he really does that stands out to me.
He's Drew Brees 2.0. It's swing passes and bubble screens.
Except he doesn't have the best O-line in the league, Sean Payton, Michael Thomas.
Nah, I'm just joking. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, not like Matt Ryan. Just saying.
Is one of the. Oh, here we go.
No, but I think what you guys are saying is Josh Allen has that unique mobility, running ability. He has this huge arm.
He has that arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some things that he does that's like special, talent-wise. Darnold, there's really nothing there like that.
I'll say two things.
And I think that when you're comparing really young QBs, you have to look at things like that.
I'll say two things. Josh Allen is just as good, if not a better passer than Sam Darnold. And there are 4 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the NFC South: Brady, Brees, Ryan, and Winston.
I agree.
Let's just get the
Ryan. Never mind.
Winston's actually going to become a star in New Orleans.
He is, because he's gonna throw 10 swing passes, so his completion percentage is gonna go up.
And he can see now. Apparently, he was like half blind.
Winston has a lot of passing talent. He's just a complete idiot. Like he's not smart at all.
Guys, go back and watch that game versus the Texans. It's literally it's a comedy. It is hilarious.
I don't
Every
remember who it was,
Jameis
but I
game
had
is a
someone in
comedy.
fantasy in that game, and somebody screwed me over.
All I'm gonna say is if you put Brees or Brady's brain into Winston's body, he would be an all-pro quarterback consistently.
Oh, for sure. You'd be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Even if you put like Kirk Cousins' brain into Winston's body, he would be like a Pro Bowler.
Even if you put like Matt Ryan.
Bro, Matt Ryan is like 400 IQ.
Well, whatever brain you want to put in Jameis Winston, none of them are gonna go for crab legs.
True. Russ Boy's correct.
Also, this dude had LASIK surgery. Like what? Like
Jets' schedule is crazy brutal, but Jets get wins.
Turtle, can you tell me why Jameis has like eyesight problems? Or I don't know.
Was probably born with it, or maybe living.
I don't know. I know
Like,
Turtle's
Have
the
you
big
never met
Jameis
somebody
fan.
that wears glasses?
Yeah, but like nobody ever said Jameis had eye problems until after this year.
Actually, I remember people talking about it in college. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. I forgot. But okay.
The
Moving
press
on.
Steelers fan says that the Jets may sneak 8 wins.
I don't see 8. I think
I don't
they'll be
see.
86.
I think
I don't see
their
either.
record's gonna get worse. I think that they're going to lose.
I think they'll go 5-11.
Is there a world where that can happen? Certainly. I definitely think that can happen.
Could
but
the Jets win 8 games? Yes. Will they? I don't think so.
Who do you guys think is better, Sapp or Darnold? Oh my gosh. Sapp or who?
Huh?
Sapp or Donald? I would take Aaron Donald, honestly, even though I think Warren Sapp's amazing.
Oh, Warren.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you said Darnold.
I would take Aaron Donald because he's been the undisputed best defensive player over the last 3 years. Warren Sapp was that for 3 straight years. Now, Warren Sapp is a Hall of Famer, but Aaron Donald...
Drew Brees had speed and arm strength, who would his rank be at?
So basically, if Drew Brees was in his prime, where would he rank? Probably in the top 3.
Okay, if we're taking every quarterback at their absolute best, Brees is the 4th best quarterback in their prime as of now.
Really?
I think
Are you saying that Mahomes is better than him?
Like this Mahomes is better than any Brees, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mahomes.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
Is probably the most
put my
talented
boy
QB
Matt
ever
Ryan
besides Rodgers.
do that.
So you're saying Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes are better?
Yeah.
And then Russ is 5th? Or Ben?
Lamar prime, Matt Ryan prime, Rivers prime, that are all up there.
Had to sneak
Matt Ryan prime.
I don't know if Cam were on a team. Mitch would say Cam prime is better than
2015
Brees
Cam
prime.
was insane. Does 2012 RG3 count?
Listen,
thanks, John. No problem, man. We were just I think some people in the chat get mad. It's not necessarily me, but thank you.
Cam was a really talented player. It just sucked that he had to play with 2 other elite quarterbacks in his division for most of his career, and that's why people are ultimately not going to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Wow, such respect.
And Drew Brees are 2 of the players that have changed the way people look at football.
Okay, Fabian said, would the Bears be good if they had Patrick Mahomes?
Your mic is like...
We're talking about quarterbacks in the league right now in their prime, not Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's not in the league.
Okay. So
Aaron Rodgers
I like how we've gone to this prime thing. My top 5 primes would be prime Rodgers 1, prime Brady 2, prime Mahomes 3, prime
Mahomes.
Prime Brees 4.
Nah, Manning was better than Brees, bro. Manning was really good.
I'm talking about that are in the league right now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he could have been talking about Eli.
Is Wilson right now better than...
Better than who?
Is Russell Wilson right now
better than prime Ben?
Yes.
It's close.
Because
it's close.
Ben was... I don't think Ben was ever... Well, he had more competition.
See, this is the thing. I think Ben was really underrated from like 2007 to like 2011 because his offensive lines were absolutely the worst in the league, and he had to do everything. Like, he was running for his life and like throwing it off his back foot consistently, but the numbers won't look the same. Like, Wilson's numbers will look better.
Ben had a lot of seasons where he was a top 5 QB. I'll give him that.
The several seasons before AB was a Steeler was probably some of the best years of Ben's career.
Yep.
Like, just from a physical standpoint of how he was able to carry that offense.
Thomas Jansen says Rodgers prime equals best ever. The thing is, like...
Rodgers was the best ever.
I agree.
The thing is, like, Brady, like, didn't really have one 5-year stretch where, like, I guess you could look at it statistically where you would say yes, but, like, from a physical perspective, it was on and off. Like, it was on all the way through, but it was like you have to pick certain years in between. It really, for Brady, depended on supporting cast. Like,
I will say the 3 years of Brady that stand out to me are 07, 2010, and the final 12 games of 2016. I thought he was great in the final 12 games of that year. Now, maybe he shouldn't have allegedly deflated footballs, but I'm not gonna go there.
I'm eventually gonna make that 06 video. We'll get there.
Okay, Mason Jones said, "Will the Saints make it to the Super Bowl if they have?"
I would say so. Clowney and
They'll
Cam
make it
Jordan.
without Clowney.
Who wants?
Without Clowney, I think with Clowney, their chances go up.
Sorry, what?
Who wants to run on Clowney, Cam Jordan, and
Mitch.
Mario Davis?
Mitch, if the Saints sign Clowney, how much do their Super Bowl chances improve?
Poof. 10%.
They become the favorite in the NFC. Like, they're one of the
best
favorites
run
now.
defense
They
in the league.
become the favorite in the NFC.
I think they become the
like
favorite
the
in the
best.
league.
Yeah, that run defense would be insane.
For me, but they probably would.
Thanks, John. Yeah, 23K, guys. Thank you. Party. Did you watch that on NFL Network today?
Didn't have a touchdown.
Gosh.
Seattle overrated.
Says Seattle overrated. No, I think Seattle is somewhat overrated in terms of. Why is it echoing?
It's weird. I'm like going in and out on connection.
I know.
They need Clowney. I think the Seattle
is overrated in terms of like a Super Bowl team. But I think people that think they're gonna miss the playoffs are underrating them.
Oh, they're not missing it.
How many people think they're
Guaranteed
missing the
team. There's no, it's like a 1% chance.
I
like
think
every
only
other
if
team-
Wilson misses like 2 games would they miss.
Unless Wilson gets hurt.
I
But
would
like
have seen a world, but after the Brandon Brooks injury, I can't see it because I can't see Philly.
Yeah, I've had questions about Philly before.
That's
I
a
bumped them
huge
down.
injury that nobody's talking about because he's an offensive lineman.
I thought that Philly was like really good, but that injury's just gonna hurt a lot.
The thing is, Hurdle and Zertan are higher than me and Mitch are. Like, me and Mitch view them as a somewhat of a borderline playoff team, and you guys view them as division champions.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah, I honestly, I thought that I thought that Dallas was gonna win the division because something crazy always happens in that division, but I did think that Philly was better.
Wait, who are you talking about? What team are we talking?
No, I mean, like, you two are higher on the Cardinals.
Oh,
You're
the
talking about
Cardinals.
I do
you guys
think
have
I
them as
do.
division champs.
I'm very sold on the Cardinals. I think that their
I
offense
have them
is
winning
going
it
to
by
be,
1 game.
I think their offense is going to be scary, and I think that their defense is going to be a lot better this year.
Did you see the 3-0 today?
Yeah, I'm kind of mad about that. Talk about
What'd he
that,
say?
please.
I don't know Lisa well.
What do I think about Madden? The trailer like didn't do anything for me. Like usually there's something at least interesting that's in the trailer, but they didn't show anything that they haven't had in the game before. It's just like the same old BS. It's just
See,
getting
this is my
old.
problem. The graphics in Madden 21 don't look better. How do you go from the new console? How do you go to this new console and your graphics still look the same as the last game from the old one?
Because it's EA. Like, what more did you expect?
Like, you see the difference between the new 2K game in that trailer, but in Madden it looks literally like the exact same thing.
2K is the gold standard of how to make a video.
2K is trash right now.
Guys, it's not Madden 21, as Turtle says. It's Madden 16, Part 5.
Can you guys talk about the Vikings record? I think we talked about them, but
I have them at 10 and 6.
I have them
I'm
at
higher
8.
on them than.
I think they're very average.
I have them at 9 and 7 right now.
You have them in the playoffs?
They're like the 8th seed.
Like, I feel like they're elite at some positions, but at some positions they're like really, really lacking.
See, I feel different. I feel like there are positions that they're not quite elite at, but I don't feel like there's a certain outside of maybe cornerback. I don't think there's a position where they just straight up suck at.
I'm concerned if they don't have Everson Griffin.
Me too.
That changes their entire defense.
It's going to take a lot of pressure off of
I have faith in Zimmer, though.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on Hunter.
I do, but you're combining a team with turnover at D-line and uncertainty with a cornerback group that's super young.
They're the best safety duo in the NFL.
And offensively, your O-line's not very good. Your running back might hold out, and Justin Jefferson is replacing Stephon Diggs.
Even then, Dalvin Cook is a shoo-in to miss some time anyway. He always gets hurt.
Let me say this. Do Mitch and Durkant want to argue over Thielen and Diggs? Just live?
Didn't we agree
I think Diggs is better.
Yeah.
I know, but Durkant thinks it's like not even close.
Oh, well, that's just
didn't say
Durkant
that.
being a goofball.
I said that Thielen was top 15.
He did. I'll give him that.
I have Thielen at top 15.
You literally said Thielen benefits from Diggs.
He does benefit from Diggs. He does. That's how it works.
He does, but I think Diggs benefits from Thielen too.
Yeah, that's what
I feel like a lot of Thielen. Feel like Thielen benefits a lot from Diggs and was able to do a lot of slot work because of.
But apparently they're saying that
number one more than the number one.
Sorry, what, Turtle?
The number two is going to benefit the number.
Yeah,
But who was the number one?
It was Diggs. Diggs was the number. But I don't necessarily think that it wasn't nearly as severe as like an AB Juju situation. Okay. It was a little more like an Evans Godwin situation.
These comments are saying if Everson Griffin goes to the Cardinals, they become a contender, which I completely agree with.
Oh, yeah. I think they need a couple more D guys. That's the problem I have with the Cardinals. I think Cliff is going to have a really good offense. I think he can coach offense, but I'm concerned about that defense. I think they're going to be a really exciting team, but I don't necessarily if they have the defense to win those games, even close those games out in shootouts.
I think that I do think that Budda Baker and that Patrick Peterson coming back for a full season is going to help a lot too.
What do we think about Clowney?
I think they're a year away.
No, is Clowney going to retire? Because it seems like nobody wants him.
The Browns wanted him. I have no idea why he didn't sign with the Browns. He's such an idiot.
It's because he wants to go with the team for multiple years and solidify himself on a team.
He should probably, since him and Seattle would probably make them like a Super Bowl contender and maybe a Super Bowl favorite. He should go there for 1 year and try to see if he can win a ring, and then try to go for a multi.
I think he has a better chance on Cleveland.
I think that Cleveland's really good. Yeah, Cleveland's really good. Cleveland's really, really good. I agree.
Who has a better chance to win the Super Bowl? Seahawks with Clowney,
Browns.
Honestly, Browns. I think their offense is insane.
Okay, the Browns are probably a more talented team, but I can trust the Seahawks more in those big situations.
I agree with that, but Clowney on the Browns, do you know how absolutely dangerous that defense would be?
And the NFC has like more Super Bowl contending teams.
You would have across the line Garrett, Richardson, Vernon, and Clowney. And then off the bench you got guys like Claiborne and all these other dudes.
Yeah, Claiborne's a good rotation player. He's just not a starter.
And then you have Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams in the back. I mean, and then you combine that with the offense.
I do think Vernon and Richardson are a touch overrated.
Yes, but they're still good.
They're good. I don't think they're like. I think people overrate them though.
Clowney's definitely better than average.
Oh no, Connor for sure. But I'm talking
No.
about what
Eddie
you're
said
saying.
he's average.
Oh.
Only looks at sack numbers.
What do we think about Cap, guys?
Kaepernick?
Yes.
I saw someone saying that he's gonna go to the Steelers.
I mean, Kaepernick is like, I don't even think he's not going to be good or anything.
I feel like people just does he's actually good.
It's going to be I feel like signing him is going to be too much. Like he's going to cause too much controversy for what his value would be worth. It's not how it should be, but it's how it would be.
Why wouldn't you sign Cam over Cap, though? Just being realistic. As much as I would think that Kaepernick in the NFL would be awesome, like, why would you not sign Cam?
I don't know.
Because Cam is more expensive, and he wants to be a starter.
But this is the thing about the NFL. Like, all these teams by this point have the guy in their mind that they feel like is the starter. And by bringing in somebody of the stature of Cam or even Kaepernick, they see it as a threat to the quarterback, so they don't want him to be there. Why do you think that?
For a freaking year, and then if it doesn't work, go with the other starter you had in place.
I know, but this is how NFL teams think. They think if Cam comes in the room and actually is Cam, and he's just going to be throwing lasers, that I don't know, Gardner Minshew is just going to look like a bum next to him.
First of all, Gardner Minshew's presence isn't going to be shook by anyone. Have you seen that man?
Okay, maybe that example.
Like, dazzle,
okay,
razzle.
who could
Jarrett
I bring up?
Stidham.
Yeah, Jarrett.
I'm about to hit the bed.
Or Tua Tagovailoa.
What if the Rams signed Cam? Could you
Tua is going to be a stud.
Who?
Bust.
Who, Ultra?
Can you imagine if the Rams signed Cam?
Oh, that would be awesome.
He's better than Goff. Goff sucks.
I don't know why the Bears didn't pick him up in free agency.
The Bears, God,
like before they got Nick Foles, they should get Cam.
Dirk Kent, the biggest AB fan here. Before you do go and we wrap this up, where is AB gonna go?
Probably.
Jaguars.
I want to say to prison, but
mental hospital.
If you want me to be realistic, I would say the Ravens.
The Ravens.
And if they did get AB, they would be my unquestioned favorite to win this.
I'd probably agree with that.
Jaguars.
With the 26th best player.
The only real knock I have on the Ravens is their interior O-line and their receiver.
But I mean, Browns should be better. And like, if Devin Duvernay at least plays to the level of any of the other guys that played last year, I think they're fine. Plus, they have Mark Andrews.
I think he's gonna go. I think he's either gonna go Jaguars or Seahawks.
I think the Packers are realistic just because of Aaron Rodgers' pressure on the organization.
I don't really see it
Packers,
because I feel
honestly.
like the Packers
That
are
would be
really,
their Cam's
really
favorite
classy.
team.
Yeah, they would.
The Packers are really classy, and they clearly don't care about receivers. So I
Classy? Like, what? What?
I don't think that they would sign AB.
I don't think the Packers are classy. I just think they're successful.
They're somewhat classy.
No, they can't put the Packers are a classy organization.
They are.
They
They are pretty classy.
Yeah.
I just think they're successful. I don't think they're classy.
I think that the Ravens are the most likely.
Alan Lazard is underrated, says Eddie.
Are you gonna head out now, Durkin?
I think we're gonna end it there.
Y'all about to end it?
Yeah, it's
Peace.
almost 11 and it's almost 2 in some places. So
It's 2 a.m.
I hope you guys enjoyed this live chat. We'll definitely do it again. It was fun. We got the Q&A stirring up. We got some of the Patreon members in here and some of the big Discord members. So if you guys enjoyed the conversation, then definitely join Discord because that's what goes on in Discord every day. And we just absolutely talk about the NFL all the time. So if you enjoy that, get in the Discord. Gronk, spike the like button, subscribe if you are new. It's Mitch. Peace.